It's in the silent waiting before God speaks the creation's beginning. And as God's breath is building over the waters, that we're invited to listen, to pay attention. And in that moment of silence and in the breath, God speaks light and dark and sky and sea and land and life and wonder and humanity placed at the heart of everything. I'm sitting here at our place just at sunrise, and I'm reminded of a line from a children's fantasy book that I read years ago. Only in silence the word, only in darkness the light, only in dying life. And the Genesis story, the scriptures tell us that only in the silence often is that God's voice is heard. And in our world, that silence is less and less likely. Most places aren't like here. There's sound and movement going on all the time. And how do we find the space to attend to what God might say in between the breaths, in the waiting, when there's so much else to distract us and call our attention away? How do we attend to God in the silence when silence is barely there? How do we attend to God, pay attention to the whispered breath, when we're being subtly attuned only to wait for the next sound? We live in a world of distractions. The devices that we all have, and our concentration is chipped away at, so that critically important things like Turkey and Syria at the heart of the news are airbrushed from our concentration because something else has happened or something new has happened on our phone. And Lent is telling us, this season we're in right now, this season of walking towards the cross and the empty tomb, is about learning to pay attention. And we walk our way through it step by step as we measure ourselves in discipleship with Jesus. And we create this illusion that we in the church are immune to what happens in the world around us, and it's an illusion, because of course we're affected by it. And so we try to make worship in the church more attractive. We provide things that will draw people in, and we try to make our worship more like the world around us. So we have more lights and more decoration and shorter sermons, and all we end up doing is providing less and less. And while Lent measures us out, Easter persists. And people of faith would say that Easter is the shape of the cross. And we become confused thinking that power's about the earthquake and the wind and the fire, when Easter tells us that power is about a whisper. It's about the silence. It's about something else entirely. At the heart of Easter, when Christ is silenced, broken on the cross, we discover what power really looks like. And we need to wait here. When at the cross we hear and see that God's fullness is proclaimed to us. In the silence we listen for what God in Christ is saying, and we wait. And we would assert that there is no moment in all of history when God is more God than this. God for us in Jesus Christ at the heart of history. In the deafening silence of the cross, we see power proclaimed. And there at the foot of the cross we wait. And there at the tomb we wait, holding our breath as creation holds its breath. And then in that second new morning, everything is transformed. God's breath is stirring in the silence, and once again God speaks light and life and restores our humanity. We can't rush here, nor tell this story in a soundbite. We need to attend to the work of God, to the death of Christ, and to what God has done and is doing. And at the core of this story, in the death of Christ, at this moment, we realise that the cross is speaking to those who believe they are not worth it, because they've been told that the good news is not for them, that they are not worth believing in or caring for or dying for. So for all those who are breaking or broken, for all those who are lost or who have lost, for all those who believe themselves beyond hope, this story is essentially true for you, for us. And having waited with Christ in the silence, we see what God has done and is doing now. Our hope, our forgiveness are here, because this event proclaims that death is not the whole story. That new life through Christ speaks more fully than any utterance of death. And our emptiness is filled with the love and glory of God. In the waiting, it might be hard to believe, but in the completion is beyond words and just simply wonder. So may God bless you with hope, to listen in the silence, to know that Christ is with you, and to be assured that the Spirit of the risen, crucified Christ guides and guards you and leads you to hope and to life itself.